guys, shout out to the one and only Elaina St. James. Yes, she pulled through for an amazing, absolutely amazing ATC exclusive. We're talking about The Rock over Donald Trump. We are 100% talking about Drake dating older women. There are so many things going down in this exclusive Q&A. Kick back, relax, laugh it up, and you already know, enjoy yourself. Check out this exclusive. And I know that you don't feel the most comfortable in the hip-hop world, but just tell me, off the top of your head, what do you know about hip-hop, Elaina?
I know about the more like the pop culture stuff. I mean,
tell me.
Cyrus, I'm 54. I'm white. I'm in a small town in the Midwest. That's how I grew up. Like, I know that doesn't preclude me from knowing about hip-hop, but I am not the coolest when it comes to music. Like, my first, my first love was like Donny Osmond. I mean, it just doesn't get less hip hop than Donny Osmond, I don't think. But and then I went through like kind of the new wave of the 1980s and stuff. So by the time rap was really coming into play, I was kind of formed, right? Like you get formed in music, I think. So, but I mean, like Missy Elliott and I don't even know if it's Fiancé kind of considered rap, but like, I mean, Alicia Keys. And I mean, there are some women that I'm like, damn, like, but I probably go further back as far as like more rhythm and blues and like, Supremes and Aretha and like more classic. So before the actual rap, I mean, I do like, some of the stuff like that. I do hear Eminem and stuff. I'm a 54-year-old mom. I'm not into the kind of hardcore stuff. So, and a lot of it's not light and...
But you know what, Elaina, just to chime in, I guarantee if you don't, I know your son does, you have to be up on Drake and Kanye West. There's no way you can be a mom without knowing them.
I like Drake. Oh, yeah. And I like Drake and I like Kanye West. I like Drake probably more than I like Kanye. I like Drake because he's just very kind of clean cut and he's cute and he's not threatening, right? So he's not threatening, he's cute. I like it. He's got a cute personality. He can make fun of himself. So, and I like that kind of personality, period, across the board. Like, I've seen things where he's kind of like making fun of himself, and I love that humbleness. That is such a turn on. Like, he's freaking adorable. And I love Rihanna.
We're definitely going to get into Rihanna, but I just got to say, Elaina, I don't think it's fair because Drake, made headlines not too long ago for dating Joanna Leigh, who's, I think, 40-plus-year-old model, and I think you're being a little partial being, in your 50s that Drake dates older women. Is there any bias to that, or what's your reaction?
Yeah, okay, yes.
Yeah? A little bias.
I'll go with that. I didn't really know that there was an older thing. But I'll go with that.
Yeah, he's always had a thing for older. Yeah, Elaina, he's always had a thing for a few older ladies, especially when he was younger, like Sade, the singer. There's a handful of ones that are just
amazing.
Yeah, and like one of the Doris Burke, who's an ESPN reporter and things like that. He's always been a fan of slightly older women. Still beautiful women. All women are beautiful, but especially for you yourself being such an attractive woman. I know you always talk about being in your 50s, but how was that just, being approached by the younger crowds? Do you ever take those guys seriously?
I don't take them seriously as far as like in real life. Because I don't really think they're serious. And what would I have in common? Really talking to somebody that's like 25, right? But in my line of work, that's my core demographic. So your core demographic, I think, is pretty much mine too. I mean, mine is like 25 to 40, like early 40s. That's the core of my fans. And what I offer them, Cyrus, is I offer them the fantasy. Like, I'm not necessarily, they're not going to date somebody my age, most of them in real life. Some of them do, and I've actually talked to some of them, and they're like, oh no, I exclusively date women that are that much older. So, but I can provide a fantasy that they do have an intimate look at me and what I do, so it fulfills that, like, that's kind of what I provide. I do have fans that are my age and older, but and the weird thing is, because I am single in the real world, a lot of those guys, they're going to want families and they're going to want to have kids. And I see this like on 90 Day Fiancé, and I'm just like, if you want to have kids someday, I mean, look at even Ashton Kutcher. He left Demi Moore, who's freaking amazing, but he wanted to have kids. So he started with somebody younger, that's kind of the way it is. But, would I date somebody much younger? Yeah, it'd be kind of fun. I mean, I've dabbled thinking about when I've been approached by, a younger guy, but there's other parts of it that are important than just youth. It's, there has to be a connection. There has to be some sort of kind of energy that I respond to.
No, for sure. And, it's so crazy, Elaina, because, as you're talking, all I can think about is just how accepted the family lifestyle is now, right? You have so many, whether it's Jay-Z and Beyonce showing off their kids or just whoever, Drake and his son, he's so adorable.
All the Kardashians.
Exactly.
Right.
Or the Kardashians, Kylie Jenner and her daughter with Travis Scott. Just kind of, just your take as a mom or as somebody that's kind of seen it from like all this big alpha male type of lifestyle. And now the alpha male is more so the family, married, happily married, children, and that type of approach.
Oh, right. No, there's a really hot, and he's older, but he's a hot guy, kind of model on TikTok. And there were some pictures and all these women are swooning. And my first thought was like, okay, if you want to actually make women faint, just post a picture, holding a baby, and that'll just do us all in. That'll just, because there is something about that mix of brawn and being a good dad that is so attractive. I mean, come on. It's it's beyond.
Elaina, just a second ago, you mentioned the whole 90 Day Fiancé, and I kind of made a note of this. I gotta know, what's the best reality? If somebody who hates reality TV right now, and they're like, oh my gosh, okay, give me one series that's worth me seeing, if it's worth watching. What is that is it gonna be 90 Day Fiancé or something else?
Oh my God, my guilty pleasure, and I'm probably gonna be doing a podcast about this. And it's like next week. I was just talking to somebody. Is freaking 90 Day Fiancé, like The Other Way especially. This is the one that gets me. These people are Americans, and they go over to some really difficult, challenging places to live just because they find this love. And then they're like, yeah, I'm going to go over to freaking Morocco or something and live in this oppressive place, or India, where it's like, oh God, everything's so difficult. And then they're dealing with cultural stuff. And there's usually always an age difference. So there's usually, and this is typically, much older woman and much younger man, right? It can go the other way, but so there's all of these things, and it is absolutely my guilty pleasure. My kid knows on Sunday nights, he calls it my dumb show, and I watch my dumb show. And I love it. I pour a glass of wine, I get some sort of some chips or something, and I just sit there and I just delve into the crazy.
I love it. It's so fun because we've been talking about to different folks about, did you watch Squid Game? Did you not watch Squid Game? And to find out that you love reality TV is awesome. Now I want you to be super honest, Elaina. What's that one reality series that you just couldn't get into? Like the one that just, people liked it, but you just weren't into it.
You know what? I could never get into the whole Duggar thing, or the whole, and these are bad. These are long ago, but the Duggar thing,
okay.
And I couldn't get into the Kate Gosselin stuff. I didn't find that appealing at all. Now I love the Beverly Hills and some of the different housewives ones. Love those. I watch those. Not all of them, but I do, because those are just kind of pretty to see. Like they live in such opulent, beautiful, environments that alone, just kind of like when you were watching the Kardashians, and it would be like, everything's just so pretty. The surroundings. No, so some of those I haven't got. Oh, and then the other ones I can't get into are like, because are like the 600-pound people.
Yep.
I can't get into that because, well, first of all, what a downer on as I'm drinking wine and eating chips, right? And watching that going, yeah, maybe I shouldn't eat any of this stuff.
No, definitely. And Elaina, if you could just snap your fingers, executive produce any particular reality TV show star, or you know what, let me rephrase it. If you could give anybody a reality TV show, who's worthy, outside of your own personal life, I know you got a bunch of things going on.
We could do mine.
Outside of yours, who would it be? Who in Hollywood, or maybe it's a local person, who's deserving of a reality TV show?
Well, deserving is different than who I would want to see on a reality show. Like, who's deserving of it? That's hard. Who would I like to see, like, the inner, like, workings? Well, it's kind of my two major crushes would be Chris Hemsworth and The Rock. I'd like to kind of just watch them. I'd like to just watch, like a little voyeur into their lives, because they're just freaking eye candy.
Now, I got to ask you, Elaina, so let's start off with Chris first, and then we'll go into The Rock. When was it that you just knew, oh man, this is my eye candy, this is my man crush every day, not just Monday? When did that kind of just happen? Was it the Thor films?
Thor. Oh my God. Yeah, it was Thor, but it wasn't, because I kind of like guys clean cut. It wasn't until he got his hair cut. So I think it might have been like Ragnarok or something.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, hello. And then like the Men in Black, and I was like, oh, yes. And that. And then with Rock, I think he kind of snuck up on me. He snuck up on me, and it was his personality. Certainly not when he was a wrestler. So it was probably when he started letting his humor show. And then I was like, oh, he's just delightful. He is just, as a personality, and you see these clips of him where he's like riding around, and the other one is, I do love Hugh Jackman.
Nice. Yeah.
I know. I've got this thing. And the funny thing is, in real life, I tend to date geeks. Like, I tend to date really smart, lawyerish, business owner, that are not big and bulky. And that's probably it, right? The fantasy is always fun to just have a fantasy that's very different than what you like live. And yeah, no, I love The Rock. Right now it's The Rock and Chris Hemsworth that I'm just like, hello.
Okay. Got it.
I want to climb that mountain.
Listen, I'm excited to keep things going. So, like I said, keeping the momentum going, rather, would you vote for The Rock if he really ran for president? Because, there's been a big rumor and whatnot. And, really, okay, so not even look, Donald Trump can run, right?
Because, right. You know why? I know he does. I mean, and not to get too political.
Gotcha.
I think he's a good person. And I think he has the strength. I mean, honestly, I was thinking if he ran against Trump, I have a feeling, and just from a standpoint of pure brute strength, and power and charisma, I think he would have blown him away. I mean, I think that there's that. Like, he's just got such a charisma and such a like in advertising they call it like a high Q score. Like, like he's very well respected. I think I can't wait till this new movie that he's in with Ryan Reynolds. And Gal Gadot, who I adore. She is just perfection. Because again, she's humble and she's fun and she's down to earth. Those are the kind of people that that are grateful for what they have, that I find really appealing. The spoiled brats, I have no time for that. Life is short. Yeah, I think that answered your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. And kind of a play on words, and I know this about you as well. You've been talking about the rock aspirations, rock climbing aspirations. I kind of want to dig a little bit into that, Elaina, because obviously, from what it looks like, the body's in shape, the body is toned. Is that something that you've actually picked up on recently? Is that something that you hope to do soon, rock climbing?
No, the only rock climbing I want to do is Dwayne The Rock.
Got it.
Yeah, I have no interest in rock climbing. That was just a play on words.
Gotcha.
So I will say, when I was 40, I did jump out of a plane. That was good. That's before I had a kid, though, so I probably wouldn't do that now. But I did a tandem jump out of 10,000 feet above, like, for my 40th birthday.
Okay.
And I've traveled a lot on my own. I mean, I've traveled overseas many times by myself. So, like, there's a part of me that is adventurous, probably not physically, like, life-threatening, adventurous. The jumping out of a plane, that was a one and done. And walking around Turkey by myself, I don't know if I'd want to do that again. But, at that time I was in my late 30s and it was a little bit of a thrill.
No, definitely. How was that? Just out of curiosity, because once I dated a girl and I think she wanted, it was skydiving and like something else. And I was just like, we'll do the other thing. Like the skydiving seemed too insane. Like, do you have are you just 100% certain that parachute's coming out, or was there any doubt in your mind?
Here's the thing that was funny, Cyrus, when you go up there and, I'm with a guy that's done this like 2,500 times, and he's nutty, right? Because they all, right? They're kind of kooky. He's got all kinds of piercings and, and he's just kind of like, yeah. And he goes, okay, take your hand. Because we're up 10,000 feet. We were in a small plane. And that was okay because at the time I was in sales and I had been in puddle jumpers before. That wasn't a big deal. But then he goes, put your hand out. He goes, it's just like being in a car. So I literally put my hand out and my hand went,
oh man.
Back. I'm like, that is not like any car I've ever been in. Are you insane? That's not a car. And then his whole thing was like, you got to jump. When I say 3, you got to jump. But it was, I would say you do it once, you do it before you have kids, because like I couldn't put myself out there because at the time I had just been dating a guy that was an emergency room doctor. And he was just like, I would caution you not to do that because he goes, I cannot tell you how many broken ankles I've seen in the emergency room. And you don't even think about it. And he goes, and those are the ones that just have a, broken ankle or a broken leg. So, yeah.
No, definitely.
It's a risk. I'm not going to go surfing. I'll tell you that much. I watched a documentary with Chris Hemsworth about Shark Beach.
Oh man, like, that seems a lot safer than.
See that?
I haven't, but I just keep on thinking, man, I would probably chance surfing than going out of because what happens in my mind is I think, oh man, am I going to be that one person that the parachute didn't work, right? Or the guy, couldn't grab me or something like that. So.
Right, and it could happen, Cyrus. But it would be kind of a cool way to go.
Oh, man. Ooh. Oh, man, Elaina.
Because the experience of when you're free falling, it is heady. But the best part, of course, is when the parachute opens.
Yeah. I've done zip lining.
Because then it's peaceful.
Yeah, Elaina.
Yeah, and I've done zip lining.
Okay. Nice. Yeah, I was going to say, I've done zip lining, and I know what you mean because it's so like when you look down, you're like, oh my effing God, right? Oh, this is insane. But I know there's always like, I forgot what it is. There's like, you're strapped on there, but there's also like one other aspect. I think like you're always holding on to that wire. So you always think there's at least a chance. That parachute thing, it can be one and done easily.
Right. Or it gets tangled or
yeah.
It's not packed.
Man.
If it's not packed correctly. Right. There's a lot. Again, I wouldn't do it once I had a kid.
Elaina, I knew this was going to happen. Like it was supposed to be 10 minminutes. I know we're going to push it. Can you spare a few more minutes? I just want to keep it going. Yeah, you're good? Okay.
Yeah.
So we got to ask, I think it's so cool because I don't bring it up, but I know you make sure to just keep on reminding not only myself, but whoever else. I'm 54 and I'm like, oh man, that's just so cool. But, taking it a little bit deeper, I think you're in that rare cool class of like the 50 plus crowd that, maybe 20, 30 years ago, that 50 plus crowd wasn't so hot. But you're talking about Elizabeth Hurley, the Sandra Bullocks of the game, Courtney Cox. There's a few
J-Lo.
other. J-Lo, exactly. And I'm like, oh man.
God. Even there, and there's some that
Salma
are sneaking
Hayek.
up.
Yeah.
Salma Hayek. There are some that are sneaking up to that 50 and 50. I mean, if you want to really get your mind blown, look at like Christy Brinkley.
Yes.
She's like 70.
Yeah.
I mean, what the heck? And Cher. My God. Cher and freaking Dolly Parton. Now, Dolly Parton, I love her. She had a little bit of obvious work done, but I mean, she's pushing 80. Cher's well over 70. It is
Exactly.
an amazing time to be older. It's the best time ever
Yes,
to be
especially
an older woman.
Yep, especially American women. I'm not sure how Queen Elizabeth would look in lingerie. So I'm glad that these are
Well,
American.
she's 95.
That's crazy, crazy, Elaina. I kind of put a reference into the lingerie thing because obviously, I need context, right? Because I shot you over some Q&A stuff, and I was like, Victoria's Secret lifetime partnership or Rihanna Savage X Fenty partnership. Now I'm just thinking, playing the age game, that I'm in my 30s, so I know what Victoria's Secret meant in like the 80s and 90s, especially, right? But for you to like just kind of say, you know what, Rihanna kind of seems a little bit more interesting and hot right now. Give me a little bit of context for why you would go with a Rihanna lifetime partnership over Victoria's Secret.
Because I like her attitude. I actually did a TikTok or a reel or something on this. It didn't get a whole lot of likes, but it was, I heard her, and it was her being quoted, and she's like, this is for everybody. This is for every skin color, every size, every age. I don't think she said age, but I'm just going to say that she probably would have thought that, because her inclusionary vision, that sold me. Victoria's Secret does not have that. And I don't even have Victoria's Secret stuff. Yeah. I mean, like, I'm kind of thinking there's another company, and you should look it up. It's pretty sexy.
Okay.
Some of the older ladies, or some of the other, like, OnlyFans models, love it. It's called Honey Burdette. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
Okay.
It's very sexy. It's very high. You're talking like $100 bra.
Okay.
$75 for a pair of panties. Like, it's very high end, and it kind of veers into like a bondage and some of the stuff, but it's very high end, sexy. Look it up, Honey Burdette. But no, it's more about the attitude than me being, I couldn't tell you what her, fall collection is or that sort of thing. I just know that I want to partner up with companies that share my values, and I do this all the time when women reach out to me. It's like, I want to promote women of different sizes, different colors, different everything, because I want everybody to know that, just like I don't have a perfect body, I have a mom body, because I like eating and I don't like exercising. So I'm lucky because I'm tall, Cyrus. I'm almost 5'10". That helps stretch things out a little bit, but I'm not perfect. I'm not a gym rat. And I really don't aspire to be one, because I just don't. And I like to eat. I'm from Wisconsin originally. So, cheese curds.
Yeah.
Lots.
I look, and wrapping it up, Elaina, I'm telling you, we'll have to do a part 2, because I could go like 30 minutes with you, because there's so many times. Like, I'm looking at my notes, and there's just so much other stuff I wanted to get into. But and I know everyone that's like listening is like, when are we going to talk about the X-rated stuff? But you know what? This is more of just people who want to kind of know more about who you are and just your interests and all that stuff. But one thing that I do want to throw at you, Elaina, is just how in preparation for this Q&A, just coming across your content, and just it's cheerful, it's positive, it's exciting, it's fun. I was really just kind of giggly over just being able to talk to you, and in such a crazy world where you got trolls and you got people who just want to like put out so much negativity. How in the world do you pull it off so what looks like easily?
Because I get a kick that I get to do this.
Yep.
Like, for me, I think it's freaking hilarious. I'm delighted. I'm amused. I'm like, really? You guys want to see this? Well, sure. I grew up like on Cher and Carol Burnett, and I feel like in the world you contribute or you contaminate. I am here to contribute, and what my guys like from me on my pages is they're like, you don't just make me aroused, you make me smile and laugh. And they're like, nobody else does that. And I'm sure there are others that do that. I don't want to take away from them, but they're like, you're special because you make me happy. Like, you're fun and you're silly, and it's entertainment. And that's what I want to offer on all of my platforms. It's kind of like when I wink and I look in the camera, it's like, this is silly, isn't it? But we're having fun. It's sexy fun.
Definitely.
That's my brand.
I love it. I love it. And Elaina, but before I'll stop the recorder and then I'll properly, bid farewell to you. But for the folks who are hanging on in there, and I'll make sure this is included, where is the best place that folks can support you and love you and just do all that great stuff? Because there's a gazillion platforms all over the place.
There is, and I'm on OnlyFans, so I have my onlyfans.com, and it's /Elaina VIP. But you can just go to my website. I've got a link tree up, but if you just go to Elaina with ELAINA, ElainaSt.James.com, you'll see all my links. So okay. I'm on Twitter and Instagram, both Elaina St. James. That's easy. I have a Safe for Work Twitter as well, Elaina SFW. I got really creative there, Elaina SFW. But then TikTok, I'm Elaina_St. James. It used to be Elaina at 54. TikTok, I have a TikTok that's like at 6 million views. It's insane. It's insane. So yeah, like I'm all over the place. I dabble with Reddit, but Reddit is really difficult. So I don't do a whole lot with that. I'm on Fansly as well for those folks that don't like to deal with OnlyFans. I'm on Fansly. And, I'm always looking for new opportunities and new places to be seen. But Cyrus, I really appreciate this. I appreciate your openness and your audience's openness to talk to, a Midwest mom that just kind of happens to start doing sexy modeling stuff and producing my little video clips. They're pretty fun. And the guys seem to like them.
And there you have it. Please realize there will be a part 2. Elaina St. James, as you heard, was amazing, fun, and we will at ATC do our part to make sure she is full blown on all the hip hop knowledge in the world. And yes, Kanye West, you have to drop some more fire so she can even out the playing field and say you are just as good as Drake, if not better. Once again, humongous shout out to the one and only Elaina St. James. Humongous shout out to the one and only Brian Gross, of course, one and only. Shout out to Trenton on the production side over at ATC. And you already know, subscribe, like, leave a comment, have some fun. Stay tuned for a lot more exclusives, a lot more originality, a lot more dope stuff exclusively from Inside the Culture.